Greetings to episode 6 of Guaranteed Audio. I am Kevin James, along with my friends Neil Ciceriga.
Hey!
And Ryan Murphy.
Hello.
For this month's episode. I guess we're doing the monthly. We're
Just
trying to
about.
Yeah. Hopefully we do them more frequently than monthly, but monthly seems okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not a news show. We don't have things to say every week.
I find the word monthly suggests in the month-to-month zone.
Yeah.
Like the Lee, it sounds more like a, month-esque, you know?
It has the feeling of a month.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not hot on the pulse of things. We're not going to give you hot takes on what's current, what's new. Like what?
Don't eat Tide Pods. I mean, that's not this week's because it's not every week.
Yeah, that's
and
not our
probably
line.
for the best.
That's not our line of work. So if this
How about those clowns in Congress? That's evergreen.
What a bunch of clowns. If this is your first time listening to the show and you'd like to find the MP3 or podcast version of the show on iTunes, Google Play, or any other RSS podcast player, head on over to guaranteedaudio.com. You'll find everything you need to listen to Guaranteed Audio. And to find all of our movies, we're over at guaranteedvideo.com. Great URLs to have, great domains to have.
Yeah.
We can't get over. We got lucky.
We got .coms.
We're big
Not
shots.
.net. I just want
.org.
to point that out.
Not .gov.
We didn't skimp.
We spent so much. Spared no expense. Guys, what's new in Guaranteed Video?
We have been busy since the Christmas season. We put out a trailer, a promotional material for the Boston Underground Film Festival, which for those of you who are patrons, thank you again. And you've probably already heard our post-mortem talking about the project itself, how it got made, how the production went, how the reception has... Well, no, actually, that's the future. How the reception has been or is yet to be.
And it features the return of Daxter Flaxter.
Check it out on guaranteedvideo.com.
We have 2 other videos that are live now, too. One of which is our Frosty the Snowman video.
Yep.
Which has been kind of waiting in the wings for 8 years now to be made. And every Christmas season, we sort of don't do it. And this year I said, to hell with it. It doesn't have to be a Christmas video. There's nothing in the song that explicitly says,
Yeah.
And then Santa Claus came around. Like, no.
Yeah, is Frosty a Christmas song?
No, I looked into it.
You did?
I looked into it. It's not a Christmas song.
It's totally... I mean, you don't hear it on the radio in January, do you?
Well, no, but that's because people forget about the snow in the rest of the United States, you know.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the other video that's live is actually from our Guaranteed Video Extravaganza screening.
Yes, I wanted to make a short video to introduce this little this like get together that Boston Underground put together for us to screen our
An evening of our movies.
Yeah, our repertoire of movies, and we did it at the Somerville Theater in Somerville, Mass, and it was totally fun and.
Sold out.
It did sell
like
out.
A day in
there's
advance.
only 30 seats in that theater.
30, 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were worried that people were going to show up trying to get in the day of with cash and whatever. It was a lot of fun. We got to screen. What do we have? Like an hour and a half, 2 hours of movies?
Yeah, it was all our short films and computer fighters and stuff. But anyway, I wanted to make it a little special so it wasn't just a bunch of crap you can see on the internet. So I filmed myself telling the audience to check under their seats and take out these remote controls and vote on what videos to watch. And none of this stuff was in the theaters.
And that's available on our YouTube channel right now.
Yeah. So you can watch that too and feel like you're in the theater with me.
Yeah. We've put out a good amount of stuff lately since Year of the Snake, a month or so ago. Mm-hmm. Ryan, what'd you think about the Extravaganza?
Oh, I loved it. That was a really fun night. I got to meet this kid who did illustrations of all of us. Mm-hmm. This really cool original work. I got a couple of Facebook friends, folks who actually followed up with me after the fact.
Nice.
I got to give you guys your Christmas gifts after the fact.
Actually, yeah. What did we all get for our Christmas gifts?
We got paired gifts. You gave both of us bags containing at least one record,
gifts,
at least one RCA video disc,
mm-hmm. Not a laser disc,
a video format. Disc. I was showing it off. You gave me the 10 Commandments on video disc.
Correct.
And I was showing it off to other people at the bar with us. how you can take it out and on the inside, instead of a laser disc, it's not like a shiny reflective surface. It actually looks like a record because it's actually grooved. It's like, I don't know what it's made of, but it's like there's grooves
It's
in it.
really interesting, isn't it?
A needle takes the data off the disc like a standard audio record and turns it into video, which I think is like magic to me. So that's what I really like about those discs. Thank you for thinking of me and Kevin. What was the movie you got?
I don't even remember. I just remember the book that we each got.
What kind of books did you guys get?
We both got books
written by attorneys.
No.
Mine's written.
Mine's by an attorney.
Yours, Mr. Dershowitz, is an
Okay,
attorney.
yes. They're both
Mr.
books-
Furman, the former member of the LAPD.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we both got books written by OJ trial figures.
Neil got Alan Dershowitz, and Kevin
Cambridge.
got, yes, that's right.
Mark Furman, the racist cop who almost...
Irrefutable racist. Current Fox News commentator. Still thinks he's right.
Anyways, yeah, that was. I got Ryan for Christmas a Resident Evil 3 T-shirt from 1999.
Which is in great shape.
It was in really good shape.
It's in really good, yeah.
It's a good bedtime T-shirt. I discovered it when I was in New Jersey at Digital Press Video Games, and it was just an old promotional item that was in really good shape. And I immediately thought, oh, it's a bit big, but I think Ryan will love this. And for Neil, I got a reprint of the Creepshow comic book that came out in the early 80s to coincide with the movie.
That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah, that was
Creepshow
cool.
is a comic book on film. It's the first, I think, comic book movie
Yeah.
that really owns that it's a comic book.
Well before the Ang Lee Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Graphics and turn pages and zooming into the frame. Fun stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And Creepshow is the first movie that the three of us watched together.
Yep.
Was it really?
In this very room we're recording
no
in.
way.
actually.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so that was really, I held on to that Creepshow comic for like 2 months, hoping that you weren't going to buy it for yourself. So
And I gave you the novelization of Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
yep.
Which, as Neil and I discussed this when we were getting falafels, I was curious as to how they would handle Hulk Hogan breaking the fourth wall into the context of the film.
You'll just have to read it.
As LeVar Burton said, don't take my word for it. Read the book.
You know in Gremlins 2, the home video version had a different scene?
Yes.
No way,
I
what's
think they
in it?
maybe even
John
made
Wayne.
something for the DVD.
Well, so basically when
John
it came
Wayne
out-
was alive?
No.
And he had to do...
No, it's clips from old John Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So for those
He's
of you who
dead.
have no idea what we're talking about, Gremlins 2, an amazing movie. Comes out in theaters. You're watching the movie with a film projection back in 1990. And at one point, the film comes off the register of the projector and you start seeing the film burn up on the screen. And you're like, what the hell's going on? You think the movie burned up. It's screwed up. And it turns out the Gremlins did it. The Gremlins messed up the movie. It's part of the movie.
They start doing like shadow puppets and stuff.
And then it cuts to a cinema somewhere where an usher walks up to people in the audience. The audience is like complaining, like, what's going on? I paid money to watch this movie. And one of the patrons of the theater is none other than Hulk Hogan, back when he was a good guy. And
Well, he
People
nobody
liked
knew
Hulk
what
Hogan.
kind of guy. He portrayed himself as a good guy, and
Yeah.
we were all buying it.
okay, yeah, back when
Well
Hulk Hogan
put.
was a universally loved guy. And Hulk Hogan takes care of things. He sets the Gremlins straight.
Yells at the Gremlins.
Hey, you got to put that movie back on like that.
Yeah.
And they fix it. The Gremlins are intimidated by Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
They do it. On home video, when it came out on VHS, Warner Brothers went as far as to change that scene. They made a version of the movie where the movie starts cutting out as if a tape got changed in your VCR and other movies start playing. It's like other Warner Brothers owned films. And at one point it cuts to John Wayne in an old movie and some voice actor poorly dubs in, now partner, you better put that Gremlins 2 back on. Like it's something like that. It's really goofy. Yeah. Ryan looks skeptical. Like
I'm going to look it up.
So the book. The book actually
I-
does have its own tailor-made fourth wall breaking.
Excellent.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah. Some fans
Speaking
made
of
a
John
DVD
Wayne
one.
being dead, he by the way, what killed him was playing Genghis Khan. Do you know this story?
I'm listening.
Go on.
That movie.
Was he injured on a horseback? or-
No, they filmed it near some radioactive material, and then over the next
Oh.
30 years, a lot of people involved in the production got cancer, including John Wayne.
Wow, I did not know
It's
that.
arguable whether or not a statistically higher number of people got cancer who worked on that film. So maybe it didn't really kill a bunch of people.
A study was conducted, perhaps?
I think there was something where they had to get a bunch of sand for the set, so they shipped it from a test site or something like that. It was the 50s, and there were no regulations or laws.
Wow. I wonder if John Wayne, he probably smoked in his,
Yeah, no, I don't think he was a healthy,
He looks pretty cool.
living
He
man.
probably
yeah.
smoked. Well,
anybody that cool must.
so that's Gremlins 2. What have we been taking in recently? What has been your media current? Pause for the sound effect.
Is it a
Ryan,
gong?
Ryan, what have you been watching lately or reading lately? Or
Well, as we discussed earlier during our prep meeting, or as I like to call it, lunch, we're not going to talk about Star Wars. It's not productive. It's not thoughtful. It's not useful.
We have a lot of conversations before the podcast about what are we not going to talk about. Okay, let's not talk about Harry Potter. Let's not talk about Star Wars.
If you'd love to hear about Star Wars and The Last Jedi, you are listening to this in January of 2018. There are many other wonderful podcasts you can listen to. And I don't want to be all Don Draper about the letter and all that stuff, but yes, you can go listen to any of them. I saw 3 billboards with Frances McDormand and Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell, who I don't know if you guys saw, just kind of messed up more than a little bit on SNL. He dropped an F-bomb during first time ever on SNL. It appears to be a genuine mistake. He was not trying to become the buzzworthy story of the night.
Yeah.
He's
Which
just
F-bomb?
The fun one.
Oh, okay. You can say fuck on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. But
right. Jeez. No, because he's not supposed to say it on live TV.
He was doing a skit where he's supposed to be Mr. Wizard, basically teaching very dumb kids how to make volcanoes.
Okay,
in the context of him,
Mr. Wizard would totally say fuck on live TV. So.
Exactly, that was the joke. Yeah.
Okay.
He said you can't be that fucking stupid. That was the
Great.
gaff. It's pretty funny.
I watched it. It appears he made an honest mistake, and yeah, he was not trying to become a buzzworthy story. He just was excited to be on SNL, and he's worked in stage and television and film, and he's probably just been allowed to drop to say fucking whenever it feels comfortable because why not? Because he's a professional actor and a grown man, and oops. So I hope he's not on the blacklist of who cannot be back on SNL, but time will tell.
Who is that? Is that Sinead O'Connor and
Ellis Costello.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody. The list is interesting.
Was Frank Zappa blocked for some reason?
He was on it, but I think he was just on it and just passed away before he could be on it again.
What'd you think of 3 billboards?
I thought it was good. I thought that every actor in the role did their job. I'm not going to go into the plot too much because it was good enough that I'd recommend it. Anybody listening at home, go see it.
Yeah, sure.
They're all Oscar-worthy actors and actresses. This was not just Oscar bait.
Yeah.
I liked that Sam Rockwell's character as a dipshit local cop, his mother was the actress who plays Mac's mother on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who, not a polite term, she's got a face. And she deserves, if she gets an award, she earned it.
It's real good. I'm a huge Frances McDormand fan. I saw it like a week after it came out, just because I didn't want anything spoiled for me.
And the kid from the creep brother from Get Out plays a very It was good to see him in something. He was Archangel in the X-Men, and he was in Get Out, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I do not know the actor's name, other than again citing the fact that in Get Out he looks a lot like the wonderful character actor who portrayed with Jack Nicholson and Danny DeVito in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he was also Chucky, and he was also
we
Warm
talked about
Tongue.
this guy before.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif.
Yeah,
Brad
Dorff.
Dourif. Thank you. Thank you.
We talked about him on a previous media current because he was in The Exorcist 3.
Played a crazy person.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Get that guy. He's great, but he's not in a real movie that we're actually talking about.
Three
now.
Billboards is one of those movies that the plot is good, but it's simple enough that the acting and the general filmmaking and atmosphere of the movie do a lot of the work. So to give away anything that happens or doesn't happen in the movie would be unfair. But yeah, it's a very approachable script. It feels kind of like a post Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, a good way of thinking of it.
Yeah, and
Who directed it?
I don't remember.
No, I don't know. Young director though, I think. And who watch it be like Spielberg. Who what's the name of the everyone loves the guy from Game of Thrones and X-Men Days of Future Past.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage is in the movie.
God, I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot.
he's real good in it. Yeah, like I loved his character. I mean, I'm just saying I like all these things, but yeah, Rockwell kind of steals the movie. Frances McDormand has been one of my favorite actors for a long time, and I was glad to see her in a leading role that was just approachable. I don't know anyone who shouldn't watch that movie over the age of 16. It's not for kids.
Well put.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
my media current, I guess we're calling it, was a graphic novel. I'm married to a graphic novel artist, but I don't often read graphic novels or comic books, or any books really. It's just been a long time since I've gotten through a book because of modern society, I guess. But I borrowed Tetris, the games people play, by Box Brown, from my friend, because I saw it on her bookshelf and I thought, I'd read a comic about the creation of Tetris. That sounds like the kind of thing I'd be into.
Well, comrade, tell us all about it.
It was good because if you remember, I did a video about Tetris in Game Boys.
Correct.
And the twist of that movie was that the Russian government was angry at Japan for swiping Tetris from them, and they got revenge by placing bugging devices inside of Game Boys. But I didn't really do any real research for that video, so I didn't actually know the story or whether Japan had actually stolen Tetris from the Russians or anything. That's not how it works. But what I loved about the book was, and I don't know how intentional you can be with this when it's based on a true story, but it must be intentional because the beginning of the book is all about the history of games, and why people play games and what it does to their brains. And then the second half of the book is about the game of monetizing Tetris, basically. Most of the characters are business people, or middlemen who are just trying to insert themselves as the go-between between the guy who invented Tetris, who doesn't care about making money because he lives in a communist society. He has no expectation of making money off his game. And the burgeoning video game market, with Nintendo becoming huge and MS-DOS becoming huge, and just
and
like
arcades still being viable enough.
Yeah, and all of these players basically trying to make a buck off of this game and fighting over the lineage and who signed what contract and stuff. And it gets pretty convoluted, and you don't necessarily have to follow it exactly for it to be interesting.
Sure.
It's more just about like watching what a big clusterfuck this very simple, very pure piece of art that was the original Tetris game became.
Did he design it as educational purposes for children, or was it?
He worked at a I think it was maybe an artificial intelligence lab or something. It was sort of like a lot of early games, they'd come from a college or something. They'd come from a college computer lab where it's just people making stuff on the side for fun. A lot of like early text adventures were the same story. And this guy did this in his spare time because he was just a nerd working a regular job in Russia. And it spread through his office, and then through probably early internet, I think people would, grab it. And it just made its way.
You said there's a discussion about the early day, like the infancy of like the video game market. Like, has Ralph Baer talked about it all, or?
It talks about the history of Nintendo.
Okay.
Because so much of the story revolves around
Nintendo
getting the game on
Game Boy.
On Game Boy, yes.
Yeah.
So it talks about the guy who invented Game Boy. It talks about how Nintendo started as a gambling card company, and then a toy company later.
It's funny because video games are becoming gambling companies.
Yeah,
now.
they're returning. But no, it's a really cool. It packs a lot of info into a really short read.
Did the people trying to pitch him to sell his product? Are there any hints as to the inevitable fall of the Soviet Union? Of like, you should probably have a safety net? Or was he not even thinking of that?
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, well,
because it does
Sounds
follow
cool.
the post. It does follow him into the 90s and what he did after afterwards. But
Cool.
yeah, it's a cool book. It was totally up my alley because
Infotainment.
I'd say it's
Please,
worth
computer
noting.
stuff.
Obviously, everyone in the room is raising their hand, or sure they are. Why not? But for those of you at home, I unless you have Google at your fingertips because you're listening to this on a mobile device or a computer, I know the name Tetris, and I couldn't tell you who wrote it.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Around 2004, I want to say, a fellow named Jason Rubin, one of the original heads of Naughty Dog, was at a conference. I think it was E3, and he was just giving a talk like he did one every year or so. By that point, he had been the face behind Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, and Crash Team Racing, Jack and Daxter 1, 2, and 3. Very well-respected video game developer. And he basically came out and gave an hour talk. You can find this on YouTube. It's been bootlegged on how directors of video games get no credit. And that it's the only entertainment market that at that point in time really wasn't giving people their due credit because publishers and distributors were trying their damnedest to keep faces and names away from the product because they didn't want their talent to become celebrity status.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to have a Stephen King when you can have a ghostwriter? Like, because it's why they change voice actors in cartoons every time there's a new show because Kevin Conroy has played Batman now since the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time you make a new Batman thing, if Kevin Conroy doesn't play Batman, it doesn't do as well. They have to pay to get Kevin Conroy, and he knows he's worth the money. And he is worth the money. He's great. But Jason Rubin basically gave a huge talk on that. You can find it. And then about a month later, he left the industry. He said, I'm done. I've made billions of dollars for people, and people don't know my name. You know, like and a lot of people were feeling that.
People know Mavis Beacon's name,
but if you seriously think back to like 2004 and 5, like video games, even by then were more fiscally successful than film and music combined.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you have to check my numbers, but there's definitely a line graph around then where video games were just killing movies and music. Tetris is a great example of, we all like video games to varying degrees in this room, and none of us really could tell you like who made Tetris. Like, and, I mean, it's crazy that something so fundamental and so ubiquitous in terms of entertainment, everyone knows Tetris. It's like
People who don't play video games know Tetris.
Exactly.
Super Mario Brothers, of course they do.
Mario's creator Miyamoto became a little more of a household name about 10 years ago, I want to say.
I feel like a lot of the Nintendo fandom has made the effort to kind of elevate certain creators to celebrity status.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the early days, there were creators to some degree. There were a lot of, to go back to like the text adventure era, there were a lot of Infocom games where the author, because they were interactive novels, there would be an author's name. Self-publishing too. And also stuff like Sid Meier's Civilization games and stuff.
And that stuck out though.
Because they put the guy's name on the cover,
He put his name on the cover.
He put his name on the cover, but they were published games. So like there were times in the history where they kind of experimented with, well, what if we do give a game an author and we kind of play off of an author's success?
I think the auteur phobia, I guess you'd call it, has dissipated in the last couple of years. Because I could definitely name you like 20 video game directors now, and I could not have done that 10 years ago. Or even names just like that, like the Hausers over at Rockstar, or Mark Cerny, who did Marvel Madness. And
I think Twitter has changed it a lot too.
But there's also
Definitely.
now at conferences they're putting the directors on stage.
Yeah,
like when a new Insomniac game comes out, you'll see Ted Price come out, and he's the head of that company, and he'll announce like, here's our new game. Here, the 80 of us made this game.
I was actually thinking that as of just this week and last week, my Facebook feed has had a handful of strange and intriguing ads for the new Metal Gear game. And Hideo Kojima could leave a company based on his own namesake and ask for more money from another publisher,
Sony
another
basically
studio.
picked him up after the last Metal Gear Solid game, and it was a huge deal. It was like a draft pick.
Exactly, and the studios don't want to lose. They don't want you to be a big enough name that you can go on your own name.
Well, because video games up until only recently were viewed as such either very technical or just toys. Either it was software or just a toy for a kid. And it was really only in a post-PlayStation 2 world that you started hearing like, well, you can clearly make art here. People were saying that before, but not mainstream voices. You know, you weren't getting Larry King saying that. For my media current, once a month, there's this amazing event at the Brattle Theater called Trash Night. I don't know if I've brought it up on the podcast before, but once a month, this organization will show a really bad movie at this great theater in Harvard Square, and they invite people to come out. You pay your $7, you get your popcorn and beer, and you just watch a terrible movie, and they edit in commercial breaks and what have you to keep the entertainment flowing, because a bad movie can sometimes just be boring and slow. Mm-hmm. And Neil and I have gone pretty much every month the last 2 years or something. Ryan, you've made it
gone a handful of times.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's really fun. And
it's not just watching the movie in silence, by the way. You're yelling and screaming at it.
Yeah, it's really funny. A good audience makes it. Mm-hmm. We've had 1 or 2 bad months, but
like
it
riff
depends on where you're
tracks or...
sitting. If you're right behind someone who's not funny, then it's kind of annoying.
Loud. Yeah,
but it's the overall theater experience is always pretty fun.
Most of the movies are from the late 80s to mid 90s.
Yeah, they do a great job of not picking well-trodden films. I think there's a lot of bargain bin, like
Terminator ripoffs,
and like robot cyborg action guy movies,
Matrix parodies. And stuff like that. The one they showed this month was actually on my birthday. I turned 31, and on my birthday they showed a movie called Cool Dog from 2010.
This is your pick?
This is my pick.
Okay.
Because I had a really good time watching it. It was super funny. It's a movie about a boy who lives in Louisiana, and he's got this dog that he can't bring with him when he moves to New York City with his dad and his stepmom. Now, his dad's just the best. His dad's handsome. His dad's in his mid-40s, and he has a good job that's bringing him to New York City. Now, it's unfortunate he's got to go to New York City because that's where all the liberals live. This movie,
that's kind of the tone of
that's
the movie.
That's the tone of the movie. I'm not like, I don't. These are not.
They don't outright say
sentiments.
it, but it's like played as such a.
Is it like you'll be a bad person if you end up growing up there? Like,
yeah, it's a shame we have to go to New York City. Is like a line in the movie.
From much. Louisiana.
Yeah,
it's kind of like they don't have dogs there.
Louisiana.
They don't have dogs
for real. That's like the sentiment of the movie. In the opening 5-10 minutes of the movie in Louisiana, there are seriously like 200 American flags, and all the bad news about moving and how you can't bring the dog comes out of the mouth of the mom,
the stepmom.
But the mom, the woman in the family, gives.
While dad is just kind of grimacing, and
the dad is always there for the good news, always like looking sympathetic. The movie definitely has a bit of a sexism thing going on. It's funny. It's basically a movie about a dog getting from the South all the way up to New York City.
It's kind of a homeward.
Amazing.
It's like a solo homeward bound where he doesn't talk.
Yeah, the dog can drive cars.
The dog actually steals a boat at one point in the movie
while rap music plays.
And
saves a boat. Saves
Sounds
a homeless
like a pretty cool dog.
Plays banjo. Plays piano. Yeah.
This is a live act. He's a golden retriever, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a German Shepherd.
Oh, sorry. No, but it is live action.
Okay.
The movie looks like it was made in 96, but it came out in 2010. Mm-hmm. On top of the weird sexism, because it's not just the stepmom. There's like other characters too. There are all the bearers of bad news are women. I know you might think I'm reaching. Watch the movie. I'm not crazy, right? Like,
it's there.
It's weird. The other thing about this movie is the movie is a Christ allegory.
Yes.
The entire Neil, call me out. You're my friend. Tell me if I'm full of crap here. The entire purpose of this movie was to make a movie you could show a kid. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the movie, the kid would go, man, that dog was cool. And then the parent who showed the kid the movie could go, you know who was real cool?
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if any parent really did that.
I'm not.
I don't think any parents would be paying close enough attention.
The whole movie's
an
allegory to Christ, right? The whole thing.
I think the parent who would do that wouldn't even pick up on it.
No, but isn't the conceit of the script like he helps the homeless in like there's
I think that's there, but I don't think the movie does a good enough job of really selling it.
Does
like
the dog die and come back in 3
die
days?
at the end and then come back to life.
Yeah.
Well, because earlier in the film they established that the dog loves Twizzlers.
Yeah.
And then he puts a Twizzler next to the dog smells it and comes back to life.
Yeah. But there's a lot of subtle things.
How does the dog die? Did they crucify a dog?
It actually is. It was okay. So there's another thing about this movie. It came out in 2010, which means it was probably written in like 2008 or 9, right? Because they probably made it in like 2 months, right?
Yeah.
The finale of the movie is staged very similarly to the end of The Dark Knight, where a bad guy has a kid held hostage, and the dog is Batman in this analogy. The dog dives at the bad guy, who's like a sea captain,
Yes.
a weird surly sea captain who, and the dog, they're in a warehouse. They fall over a ledge, and the dog falls like 2 stories and dies from the fall. And like, I remember sitting there going, "Come on, 2010. This kind of looks a lot like The Dark Knight." You have to see it. Like, it's not like
The Bark Knight.
Does the dog like fall in water and get baptized?
No, the Twizzlers bring him back.
Yeah, no, it's
before
it's
he dies,
It's just a good dog that hangs out and helps the homeless, and then at the end you think he dies, but he doesn't. A lot of movies do that, but
They'll do that specifically.
that exact
I know what
thing
you mean. Like,
specifically.
a lot of dogs have a lot of films have a dog. Again, he may not be divine, but we believe he is a good dog.
He is a cool dog.
He's a cool dog.
I think you're. It's very easy to believe that it's a Christ allegory because it's a direct-to-video children's movie, and that's like the breeding ground for that sort of thing.
Yes, it
And
most
the fact
certainly
that
is.
there's definitely an anti-city folk slant.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable movie about a cool dog.
Yeah.
How many characters say the phrase "cool dog" without
At least 2.
There's
Okay.
one within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like dubbed in too. The dog like gets a high five from some
A
guy.
guy wearing sunglasses walks by in the background going, "Man, that's some cool dog." Like, the voice sounds just like that.
dog.
Yeah, cool
I'm gonna
dog.
say I'm gonna look this up in clips on YouTube, but I'm not sure if I can follow up with that. Sounds
whole
like
thing's on YouTube.
if I'm not seeing this in a group setting, it's a time investment.
I don't
and
think you could even find it.
I'm gonna.
But yeah, that was cool dog.
If it's on the Pirate Bay, it has 0 seaters. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Okay, this is from an article on can'tstopthemovies.com. I might edit this out, but this is a Christian film. It's subtle about it with a grace here and a prayer there, but it's definitely present. The film is just more open about characters praying and talking about God than you would normally see in a children's film.
Yeah, there is praying in it.
Taking this into consideration, I will
Christ.
not sit idly by and
I mean
pretend that
that.
the filmmakers had no idea that they were doing what they did when they made this film and had its main character come back from the dead at the end. It fits, too. The movie opens on Mardi Gras, and that night it is revealed that Rainey will have to be left behind. That's Rainey's the name of the dog. Cool dog. He is then left on his own, where he travels the land performing miracles and is forced to overcome many trials.
Does it take him 40 days and 40 nights to get to?
I don't think so. He gets caught up in trouble.
He does run through like a desert at one point, right?
Okay. Does he talk to the devil or a mean dog?
At the end, he is granted a key that will let him go wherever he wants. So I think it's there. I think it's there. I think it's a dumbification of the story of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, probably.
I really think the conceit of this film is show it to a kid,
That was
and then
a
a kid's
cool
like, "That was a
dog."
good story." It's like, well, if you liked that, I got another story for you. I truly think that was why it was written.
Some call it the greatest story ever told.
I hope people don't think I'm being a jerk.
Oh, they
here.
should have called it like Jazzy Canine or something. JC. Jesus Christ.
Okay, moving on. All right, we're moving on to this episode's quiz. It's my turn to do a quiz.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so my quiz this month is called the Pop Punk Matchup Quiz. So a little after my birthday, I had a party with some of my friends, my buddies Tim, Dan, John, and Anthony, and we decided we were going to play a bunch of old racing and extreme sport games from the late 90s and early 2000s. And while we did so, we made a playlist of old pop punk music. For those of you who weren't in junior high or high school around this era, let's say 1998 to 2005, this music was like everything on the radio. Like it was as popular as
Taylor Swift.
it was as
more
yes.
than that.
Yeah,
even.
the genre was huge. It was as big as R&B. It was as big as
It was like on par with Britney.
yeah, it was really big. There were a lot of these bands, a lot of number bands, things like Blink-182, Green Day to an extent. There was just like a million of these bands, and some of them are legitimately good. I'm not saying this music sucks.
Yeah.
Some of it sucks. But while we were playing these games and doing Jet Moto and
Tony Hawk
Burnout, Tony Hawk, yeah. So over the last week, I've had a lot of pop punk stuck in my head since that party, and I've been listening to it at the gym while I'm editing stuff. It's been stuck in my head, a lot of earworms, and I realized that YouTube probably have some of these stuck in the back of your head. So here's the game, guys. I have 4 songs for Ryan and 4 songs for Neil. I will be playing 15 to 20 second excerpts of each song. I will play you an excerpt, and then you have to tell me what band played that song. I'll give you 4 multiple choice answers. If you get it right, you get 1 point. If you name the song right, you get 2 points. If you don't get the name of the band right, your opponent can rob you of 1 point by naming the band.
Is that another 2 points for a total of 3?
Just one.
Okay.
So if you rob a point, you can only rob 1. So we're going to start with Ryan here. I'm going to play you guys the excerpt, and we'll see how well you do.
All right, let's ollie off
Here.
this quiz, guys.
All right, Ryan.
Ready. Okay, I can't think we're good.
That song was played by one of the following 4 bands. Was the band Flatfoot 56, Level 42, SR 71, or 10 Second Epic? And I should let you know, these are all real band names.
They sound really made up, don't
Hey, it
they?
was like Flatfoot 40 what?
Okay,
That's
so one more time.
I'm listening. Yes.
Flatfoot 56, Level 42, SR 71, or 10 Second Epic. If you get the band right, you get 1 point.
I will say that that song was terrible, and I'm going to go with B, level 42.
Incorrect. Okay, Neil. It's either Flatfoot 56, SR 71, or 10 Second Epic.
I want to say 10-7 Epic.
Wrong again.
All right. Well, what is the real answer?
The
then?
real band name is SR 71,
That was my second guess.
and this song is called Right Now.
Right now.
And it's about how a guy wants to hook up with a girl right now, and that she's not perfect, but she'll do right now.
Cool.
Neil, all right. Let's hear.
Do we know what SR stands for?
I think it's the name of a jet.
Okay.
Stands for.
All right, so now,
I don't have a joke.
okay, Neil, here's your first song.
Her boyfriend, he don't know anything about her. He's too stoned. Nintendo, I wish that I could make her see. She's just the flavor of the week. Yeah.
Neil,
Yes.
was that American Hi-Fi, The Get Up Kids, Alien Ant Farm, or Flatfoot 56?
Wait, was the previous one 56 or was it a different number? No, all right. I don't really know, but I'm going to guess American Hi-Fi.
It is American
Yes.
Hi-Fi.
All
Is
right.
the title Flavor of the Week?
Now, this is very important.
Yeah.
Spell the last word.
W-E-A-K.
Good man. You get 2
Okay.
points.
All right. You helped me.
Okay. I get it.
I would have given it to you anyway. I just wanted to have my fun. Ryan,
Listening.
you nervous?
No.
These bands make me nervous. They're so cool.
Going down, around, and sugar will going down, swinging. I'll be your number one with a bullet. A loaded gun, complex, cocking bullet.
Okay, Ryan.
Yes.
Really wish people could have seen your face during that one.
I apologize.
I can never understand what that gentleman is singing.
Got a booty, booty.
Is that the Motion City soundtrack? Taking Back Sunday, Fallout Boy, or Like Pacific?
That's Fall Out Boy, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Who claim they're not named after the Simpsons character, which is
Then
a
what
lie.
are they named? What could they possibly...
It's like when Alien Ant Farm said they didn't like Michael Jackson and they covered Smooth Criminals. Like what?
I remember being annoyed by the Fallout Boy, by the Simpsons thing when I was a teen.
Yeah.
Because for that exact reason, like because I think someone suggested it to them as a band name, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, that sounds cool," and they didn't know it was a Simpsons reference, and I thought that was so uncool for them not to know that.
Okay, so Ryan.
They had Google back then, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Ryan, you could get one more point. I could now. Do you want me to play the clip again?
No, thank you.
What is the name of that song?
I'm going to assume it's called Downtown.
No. I'm laughing because those lyrics are so hard to understand because it's
Yeah.
like cry singing, but it's "We're going down." Which,
Oh,
I know.
Down.
we're going
down,
down, not like Jerry and George in the diner singing downtown.
Okay, so-
Gotcha.
okay,
Got it.
all right, Neil.
Yes.
Sometimes I wish I was brave. I wish I was stronger. Wish I could feel no pain. Wish I was young. Wish I was shy. I wish I was honest. Wish I was you, not I. 'Cause I feel so mad. I feel so angry. Feel so callous.
Okay,
Okay.
I had to cut that short because I didn't want to get over 30 seconds. It has to be transformative. Neil,
Yes.
the act that performed that wonderful song,
They were an act.
Alkaline Trio, Boxcar Racer, Blink 182, or the All American Rejects.
I think it's Blink 182, right?
Incorrect.
What? Oh, it sounds just like them.
Now, Ryan.
A little deeper. Odd, I know, for that to be a description.
So
I'm listening.
there's 3 bands it could be. It's either Alkaline Trio, Boxcar Racer, or the All American Rejects.
I'm going to have to say All American Rejects.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Now, this is a trick. Because Tom, I think it's Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Was in several bands.
Yeah.
He tried.
Was it Boxcar Racer?
It was Boxcar
Yeah,
Racer
okay.
because he tried to pull Beyonce and be in a few bands. I mean, I'm being reductive here, but he was in Angels and Airwaves and all these other bands at the time because he knew he was kind of the voice of the band. But yeah, that was Boxcar Racers. I Feel So. In which it sounds like Tom needs a nap. So, all right, we're at the end of round 2, coming into round 3 with Ryan at 1 point, Neil at 2.
We might end the game with the same scores.
So, Ryan, you ready, Freddie?
Ready.
It's a new day, but it all feels old. It's a good life, that's what I'm told. But
Ryan is nodding.
everything, it all just feels the same. At my high school, it felt more to me like a jail cell, a penitentiary. My time spent there, it only made me sing.
Ryan Murphy. Was that Goldfinger, Lit, Icon for Hire, or Good Charlotte?
I'm going to say Good Charlotte.
That was Good Charlotte. Good man.
Okay.
Now you can get a bonus point. What the hell is the name of that song?
I can't remember. Neil, I'll give it to you. If you got it, take it.
Was it the anthem?
It is the anthem.
Do I get the point?
I don't know. That wasn't part of the rules. Do you want? Do we?
I say, yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I'll take 1 point.
Okay.
I didn't guess the band.
Yep.
I would have, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, Neil,
Yes.
you're up.
The faster we're falling, we're stopping and stalling, we're running in circles again.
Okay. I purposely made that a little harder because we're getting towards the end. Was that Sum 41, Guttermouth, McFly, or the Ataris? This is a big single for this band. That's why I made the clip so brief.
Yeah. Like it was super familiar, but I have no idea who it was. Is
Better song, I got to say.
Is it the Ataris?
It is not the Ataris.
Okay.
Ryan.
Guttermouth.
It's not Guttermouth. It was Sum 41 and their other hit, Into
Really?
Deep.
Huh.
Okay. Next one. I keep almost saying the name of the band. Up next is
I thought there was that was like a little too creatively edited than I would think Sum 41 would do.
Yeah, I was never a fan. Even though I was like 13, I'm like, these guys stink. All right, so
Well, it
Ryan.
sounded like the beginning of like a Cake song or something at first. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan, you're up next. Neil, can you do me a favor? We should have done this the whole game. Can you describe the looks on Ryan's
Sure.
face as we play this thing? Because if I do it, you're going to hear the song.
Ryan's smiling now.
Okay, ready, Freddie?
Ready.
All right, Ryan, you're up next. This is round 4.
Confusion.
You gotta keep them separated.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Okay, was that?
It's the Offspring, right? I'm sorry.
Let
I
me
just
leave
stole
the
it.
beds.
All right, name the bands.
Okay, is it The Offspring, Crash Romeo, 11D7, or The Starting Line?
The what?
The Starting Line.
The starting line.
I've seen The Starting Line.
Okay.
Were they okay?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I was like 16.
I gotta stick with it's the Offspring.
It is The Offspring. Ryan, you can get a bonus point. What's the name of that song? I can see the look in your face. You're imagining the song in real time. So in like 30 seconds, you'll be like, Macarena. Like you'll say the name of it.
I am getting this song conflated in my mind with another one of their big singles, "Pretty Fly for a White Guy," which all I can hear is Weird Al's "Pretty Fly for a Rabbi."
Weird Al actually
that's
did
as
a
far as
parody
I'm
of this
going.
song too. That was live.
What?
Only. I think it was part of a medley or something.
Okay, like one of the polkas. Okay, Neil, if you can take it. I hand it.
I can tell you, it's called "Come Out and Play," right?
It is called Come Out and Play. Yes.
Okay.
I don't get that point though. That's. I mean,
If you don't get that point, you don't get the other point from earlier.
can I just split?
So
the
then it would be
difference?
3-2 if you didn't take the other point from earlier.
Oh, Ryan's up to 3 now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're 3-3. That's fair. I don't have to.
Now I'll take the point. Okay.
Neil,
Here we go.
this is the end of the game. Right
Okay.
now we're tied 3-3.
Like Jessica Rabbit, she collects bad habits, gets her drinks for free, animated vixen.
A bit of disdain. Genuine thought. Honestly, trying to get.
I heard multiple rabbit references. I don't know what this song is.
Do you want me to say the lyrics?
Sure.
Like Jessica Rabbit, she corrects bad habits. She gets her tricks for free. Animated vixen stole Cupid's arrow and came to rescue me.
Okay.
Was that Everclear, Jimmy Eat World, Eve 6, or Switchfoot?
I have to guess, but I'm guessing Eve 6.
It is Eve
Yes.
6. Oh, congratulations. You're not going to get the name of the song, right? Like you look, because you probably never heard it.
No, but did they also do what was their other big song?
They had a few. Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out. Yeah, because they had a little bit of wordplay going for them. I think
They were good. I've seen them
Yeah.
twice. They're pretty good live. So Neil won.
Yay!
4-3.
Yeah.
You guys did pretty well. I tried real hard to pick big singles for some of these bands. I absolutely tried to trick you with Blink-182
Yeah.
but the thing is, you know pop music a little more intimately than most people. I'd say, is that fair? By virtue of what you
yeah.
do, right?
Well, I know a lot of Blink-182 songs because one of my
great.
best friends growing up was a huge Blink-182 fan, and I've just been in the room while Blink-182 was playing for hours and hours. So
I think Blink-182 is a legitimately good band.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I think they're pretty great. Travis, a great drummer. I think the funny thing about this era of music is that they're trying to sell very earnest, honest emotion, but they're dumbing it down to get it on the radio, right? Because back in 1999, that was a viable way to make money, was to sell your music on the radio and get CDs, right? And I think a lot of them are, some more than others, are more, I think a lot of it's legitimately catchy. Like a lot of the stuff we played today, even Sum 41, who I don't like, their big song, Fat Lip. You guys remember Fat Lip?
Yeah.
Fat Lip is catchy, in that Smash Mouth kind of way where you're like, I understand this is mechanically a good song. I just, you don't have to respect it, but
The height of this genre, because I'm sure there are pop punk bands right now.
they're
I'm
not on
sure
the
there are
radio.
kids listening to them. And I'm sure there are still bands, not just these bands putting out, older albums. I'm sure that there are pop punk bands, not just in the greater Los Angeles area, maybe down south or, right here in New England or New York, New Jersey, or Florida. Florida, that adds up. No judgment there, but I think you could read between the lines of how I said the state. Florida. But you're right. They are a product of their times, not only 9/11 and but the means by which the music was distributed when the death of music videos, when people had MySpace before they had YouTube, when they could find music videos on the internet, but that was not the way when long before there was such thing as music videos on demand to go, oh, I wonder how that looks. Click, done.
I think music in general is more democratized than ever. right now. We can listen to any genre, any type of band, any type of song we want by virtue of how much easier it is to produce and distribute music than it was 20 years ago. But that being said, the stuff that actually gets on TV and the radio, I mean, for wherever that's even worth right now, it's all the safest bets. Those all rose to the top. And I've heard people describe different sects of pop punk as like cowpunk and things like that. Like
okay.
Everclear, I've heard described as that, or it's a little more
Midwesterny?
folky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and tell people like, no, you should like Everclear. You can hate Everclear. They are what they are. I think it's a lot easier for me to say these things and defend them as someone that was at his most emotionally vulnerable when those bands were in their heyday. Did either of you own any like Green Day CDs growing up or anything like that?
No, I had a No Doubt CD.
That might count. They're more ska.
Yeah, I mean that's a little earlier, I think. Tragic Kingdom is the one I was talking about.
Sure.
I'm trying to think if there was anything I liked. I
Third
mean,
Eye
there were
Blind?
like quote unquote punk bands from around the time that I liked. I liked The Living End. They're an Australian band a lot.
Yeah.
Just saw about the album Dookie for the first time in a long time, actually.
I like
But
it still.
the radio stuff, even though I appreciated that it was catchy, it was just so omnipresent that it really annoyed me, and
Yeah.
I didn't think it was super cool at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was a little hipster, and and
You had a chip in your shoulder about what was popular.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Not seriously. Like I probably would have gone to see one of those bands.
I do wish I listened to Jimmy Eat World more when they were really blowing up. I just didn't. I never had that CD. At that time, I was like Foo Fighters or bust. Like that was kind of my musical taste. I just got into Bruce as well. And like,
Yeah.
there's
what was
a lot.
Jimmy Eat World's first big single?
The Middle.
Okay.
You know that one?
I'm
It just
sure.
takes some time.
Oh, that. Yeah, I think you're for the best. I don't think you missed a thing.
I thought those. I think they're. I mean, I guess on one hand, I think it's easy for people getting into their middle age years to say, "Oh, music on the radio was better back when I was a kid," and I think you could make a real case for that. But I don't think music as a full scene is worse in any way than it was back then. Like I think if you're into any type of music, it's out there right now, and it has to be very good to rise to the top through the likes of iTunes and Bandcamp and Amazon and Google and all that stuff, right? Or even just YouTube, right? And I think that's okay, you know. I think that's fine. But I could see why some people might have that resent of, oh, music was better when I was younger, because if you turn on the radio, it's all sped up, like top 40, you know, and a lot of that. Does pop punk get played on like classic rock stations yet? Like is 92.9 playing that stuff?
Not really, but
Yeah.
it's not impossible to hear that.
Yeah. I bet Eve 6 is on there sometime. I bet the Inside Out song is on, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they're transitioning from 80s and 90s to 90s and 2000s for the oldies stations.
Some
yeah.
stations have, but some stations are more, yes, are little bit by little bit.
The stuff that really feels 90s probably has an advantage there. Can probably squeak its way in a little ahead of the curve.
Like Hootie and the Blowfish kind of stuff? Or-
I've heard "I Get Knocked Down" played not ironically on the for people who you're absolutely right, Kevin, about a lot of these pop punk bands when they would have been radio hits, because they were on the radio, were things that the publishers and distributors and record labels were perfectly fine with a big chunk of the demographic clicking past that to another radio station. Today, yeah, you're right. There's too much competition with the radio.
gotta be
They
safe.
never want you to click to the next station, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Therefore, they have to get. You're right. Lowest common denominator. The fact that there was a time and place when they could have it was a bold
punk
move to
station.
be. This is for a specific niche, like it or leave it, and they could do that.
yeah.
I was actually thinking. I was going to mention earlier that for current media. I've been listening to St. Vincent's album that came out in October, Mass Seduction.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's as good as her last album. It's one of her best, if not her best. She's pretty cool. I have never heard her on the radio, and I never will.
Yeah.
It's really too bad.
Sure.
She had a huge record release. She has a ton of money promoting this album.
She directed
has
a film.
She did.
A segment of a film
Yeah.
of XX.
She clearly has millions of dollars behind her for the tour, for the promotion from her record label, but she's just never going to be up there with Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, and that's a shame.
I think
it's never going to happen.
I think it just says more about the radio, right? That what is
Yeah.
the radio now? Like in a post, everyone's gonna pirate CDs world anyway. Like,
There was a twinge. I was thinking about the album recently because I was thinking about Current Media, and the album is strong. It's solid. It's a good album.
Yeah, she's
this
great.
might be the peak of her career. Is never being, for lack of a better term, an A-lister, and that would be a real shame.
Dude, what was you guys might be able to correct? We should get through this into the Q&A soon, but can someone correct me? Bono came out and said something recently about how like pop, like mainstream music is sort of a girls' club, and people got really angry at him. Like, what? You hear about this?
No, I didn't
No,
see
no. Okay,
this.
if none of us read it, we shouldn't talk about it then, because we'll. Just be
I will say I
pontificating.
almost Instagrammed this week because I was buying a cake for a coworker's going away party, and I was about to make. I couldn't help but notice. I perused through the magazine aisle of the grocery store, and I saw it's first handful of weeks of 2018, and the cover of Rolling Stone magazine is Bono. I'm so glad you boys and girls have your finger on the pulse of 2018, because I was just thinking about Bono.
Well, that's who buys magazines. People
Yeah.
that like are still listening to Bono.
Yeah.
For real, like,
Just Bono.
that's like why
I know
country
you
radio
mean.
stations are so popular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our magazine's
Yeah.
the radio of book.
Yeah, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, again, because we're talking about the radio like it's some golden standard, but like I don't know who listens to the radio. I mean,
Or who gets music videos made anymore? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can make a music video. It's not that hard.
well, there's like a bell curve. Like, there's basically people at the top and at the bottom make music videos, and then in the middle, it's kind of a big question. Like, how much money are you gonna spend on your music video? You know,
Yeah, there's other things you can be doing that are more effective.
like tour.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Or is the label going to pay for the video to promote you, not you paying out of pocket to promote you?
Exactly. Or are you going to kickstart your fans into buying the equipment to make the video? So-
I'm sure right now if they ask, hey, Neil Young, for your third greatest hits album this decade, do you want to do a video with like footage of you from the 70s? He's probably was, no, it's a lot of work and no, I don't want to do that.
The last like
Stupid.
10 Bruce Springsteen music videos have been him in the studio recording the song or him on stage performing the song, because he ain't got time to do a music
Exactly. Like,
video.
do you want to sit down and go over concepts? Like, no, thank you.
How about I just play the song?
That's a younger person's game.
Every year or two, OK Go is gonna make a new song. I don't know if there's an album, but they'll have a
Funny,
they'll have
me
a new
neither.
song with a new video, and the video will be very innovative. But nowadays, all their videos are sponsored by a product.
Yep.
That was disappointing. You're absolutely right.
It's interesting. I don't think it's weird.
Music videos, a good amount of music videos are at the end of the day commercials to make the band look cool.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely, and I think more now than back then, there are people who just make music videos for the sake of expressing their art, right? There are great music videos. I love music videos more than most people. But don't go back and watch the pop punk videos from Sum 41 and Good Charlotte and stuff. There's some stuff that's just...
Yeah, maybe that's why music videos died.
What were you guys listening to when you were 13?
Rage Against the Machine. I'm sorry.
They hold up. They're good. Is like Zach de la Roche like a joke? And I don't know. Like, is there? I'm probably out of the loop. Like, I think they're good.
Yeah.
I don't know what Zach Daly. I don't know what he's doing right now.
Selling beanies.
When I was 13, I was just getting into music, and I think I glommed onto like new wave and stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me.
Were you still listening to Bare Naked Ladies?
Yeah, actually. I liked Bare Naked Ladies. I followed them for a while actually. And like They Might Be Giants was around that time.
Yeah.
That's when I was getting
They're
into
they're kind of pop punk, a little ska, sort of, right?
They're
Their own thing.
they're their own thing, but they are listed as an influence for a surprising number of those bands. Like Blink-182 was in a documentary about They Might Be Giants.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Just because like the way they wrote songs and like the
Sure.
brevity of them.
They have a new album out as of recently. I saw
Yeah, I
that.
just listened to it.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's cool. They're like in their late 50s now, and They have not always, but they are capable of doing very serious music.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to hear from them, you know.
When I saw that they're pitching and promoting a new album on Facebook, I put on my They Might Be Giants station on Pandora in the hopes of every now and then hearing one of the new ones to give it a give it a taste.
They had a new album like last year too.
Wait, really?
Or
Oh,
like
damn.
before
That's
or something.
good.
They're like as prolific as ever. It's pretty
Cool.
great.
All right.
I think when it comes to the pop punk stuff, I think Green Day irrefutably they have great stuff. Like not all of it, but there's like I went back and listened to all of Dookie last week. That's a good album. I think it's a well written album. I didn't listen to it back in the day at all. I listened to Nimrod. That was my Green Day album back then with Nice Guys finished last. I think Blink-182, I put them up there with the Replacements. I think they found a smart way to talk to teenagers when they were not teenagers, when they were like 30. Like and they were pushing 30 and they were still making stuff that really made sense to teenagers in a way that wasn't just pandering like certain emotions. I think it's also because there are varying degrees of great musicians in Blink-182. I think they're all at least good at something. And as far as the rest of the pack of pop punk, you know, I'm sure there's people out there who are music enthusiasts who would tell me like, oh, how dare you throw Everclear into that mix? I'm like, oh, it's funny. we're trying to be reductive for the sake
Yeah,
of
they were a little. They preceded it a little bit, right? They were kind of.
They were post Green Day,
Well, yeah, but I always
pre '99.
I always thought of them as more in the Bare Naked Ladies school of radio rock.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. They like AM radio was like
not like 1 week Bare Naked Ladies, but like the old
Gordon.
Apartment. Yeah.
That's fair. So every episode we do a question and answer segment. And we pull all the questions from our Patreons and our Patreons only over at guaranteedvideo.com. We put up a post the week before the episode and we ask everyone any questions they might have for us. So Evil Twin asks, what are each of you guys' zodiac signs and do you identify with them?
I'm a Virgo. Almost was a Leo, but a little too late. I forget what the traits of Virgos are.
Virgos are always paying attention to the smallest details, and their deep sense of humanity makes them one of the most careful signs of the zodiac.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like me, but that's the thing with those traits is you could probably see that in yourself no matter who you are.
Ryan, how about you?
I'm a Leo. No. And no, you're right. I would love it if just one of them is, Leo, August something to early September or whenever the time frame is. Often have webbed toes. Something specific that you could measure. Or like their molars fall out, but not the front teeth. Stuff like that.
A Leo is warm, action-oriented, and driven by the desire to be loved and admired. They have an air of royalty about them.
Again, no.
Like a lion.
I'm a Capricorn, and a Capricorn is the 10th sign of the year. Capricorn individuals are controlled, conscientious, and practical. I am not controlled. I'm very extemporaneous. I often can't resist saying exactly what's on my mind, not because I'm some punk, but because I have self-control issues with the way I speak. So I don't know if I identify with being a Capricorn.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So
The zodiac has been debunked
we
by the new kids
busted
on
it.
the road.
So Viva Reverie asks, I like to ask about how you do colored lighting. Stuff like in Mr. Basement, the Mouth album covers, and those Halloween photos you did. They all look super good, and I really dig the dark and creepy but vibrant vibe. What kind of lights do you use? Do you have any recommendations? Or am I just an idiot and never realized you've always used colored cellophane over $5 lamps? If so, do you have any cellophane lamp tips? So
Those all three things that person mentioned are literally the same like 4 light bulbs that I bought at I think actually I got them on Amazon, but you can get them at
Lowe's
and stuff.
Home Depot.
we basically got colored light bulbs. I have a few, Neil has a few, and this is the thing though, is those lights in person might look blue and green and orange and red, but on camera, those lights show their true colors, no pun intended. They have low CRI, meaning that blue and green to the naked eye in person on those bulbs look different. They look like two distinctive colors, but the camera views them as kind of one blob because the lights aren't on unique enough wavelengths. There's a science to it. You have to look up the definition of CRI and all that it entails. But what you're supposed to do is get nice, clean, high CRI lights like tungsten or LED or what have you, and put, cellophane or gels over them to get distinctive colors. But the stuff you just talked about, like Mr. Basement, we just had those Home Depot lights backlit, clamped onto the ceiling. We love clamp lights because they're fast.
Yeah,
that
super
sort of thing.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those bulbs, they're like halogen like party lights.
$8.
They're $8, but they are built like tanks. That's what I like about them is I've had them for like years and years now, and they're still alive and work. And we've just thrown them in a box and stuff, and they're hard to break. So that's the plus.
Back when we were like 20, I remember Ryan was a big proponent of the Sears lights. Those like
The
works.
paint drying, indoor they lit a room.
Yeah.
Now they had harsh shadows and harsh outlines, but when
They
it
had
came
like
down to
grills over them that would cast shadows.
well, you can
and
I gotta
stuff.
take. Here's
you
the
were
thing.
close to them.
The grills.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
The grills are
defending
a very
21-year-old.
important safety measure that we chose to remove.
Yeah,
those bulbs got dangerously hot.
I think we shot Bigfoot Begins with those.
Yeah, I remember back then my family had a like tanning light or like vitamin D light or something.
I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yep.
And I used that for lighting a lot too because it was very bright, very soft light.
Much better to fill a room for a human.
Back then,
Yeah,
back
for
then,
human.
our cameras
But probably
weren't that
not good
light.
outside.
Our cameras weren't that light sensitive. So what we
Yeah.
would frequently do, this is back in like 2007, we take our brightest lights, take them like 2 feet away from a white wall in a room, and aim them at the wall and not the people acting in front of the
Just
camera.
bounce off,
just to make it the softest light we could. Now, with say our newest video, the Daxter Flaxter Boston Underground video, those are shot with these airy 1x1 LED panels that are like super expensive. Like that's like a $1,500 lighting package.
They're great.
We
though.
did not buy them for the
My friend Tom let us use them, and
Thanks again,
I think
Tom.
it shows. The color.
Tom DeLong, Blink 182.
Tom Shalafor. Tom is a Shalafor. The light's very clean. Nowadays, if you're going to light something fun and creatively like that and you are in a budget, get the Home Depot lights. Just know you're going to have to work in post to make that blue look more blue and the green look more green. If you do have the money and you can spend like $70-$80, get some LED panels off B&H or Amazon and just get some gels for like $5-$6. Much cleaner, much softer. You can diffuse it because those like halogen bulbs get hot. And putting plastic near them. How many times do we have plastic melt onto light bulbs back then?
a lot.
2.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I will say, not to sound older again, or the kids these days, but I remember between 2013 or 14 when I got my first smartphone, I was absolutely shocked. It was grainy in low light, but I was shocked. I was so impressed with how well this dinky little camera could do under low light conditions because low light on mini DV and other in most early digital formats that we used was a killer.
Absolutely.
Low light meant you were just done.
Yeah.
We'd rather be overblown than be low because we can't. There's nothing to work with.
Video was notoriously difficult to light until probably 2010.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who are first starting to make videos, the kids, if you will, or if you're 30 and you're starting now, sure, go nuts, have fun. But if
now,
your first
like,
camera, your first camera is first of all in HD and it's in your pocket all the time.
It's probably like a $400 DSLR or your smartphone, which is what you were getting at.
Yeah. That looks better than the mini DV camcorders we started with. It really
And now,
does.
just in the last couple of years with the Sony
A7S.
A7S, you could actually reasonably light a small room with your phone. I think.
You can. If you
screen
want to
of
see
your
how
phone.
light sensitive those cameras are, go on Vimeo and just put an A7S Moonlight.
Oh, it's so cool.
People shoot entire films with nothing
was
but
amazing.
Moonlight. It's incredible, and those cameras aren't that expensive.
Is the body 800?
Now you could probably get one brand new for close to $2,000, used
Okay.
for probably about $1,000.
Are there? I think they have probably.
I don't know why I thought they were so
They have
much cheaper.
lower models that are still really good in low light.
The A7S is the king, though.
Yeah,
I have the
that's-
A6000. That's okay.
The S actually stands for sensitivity, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the next one.
Good question.
Michael Kickenrad Corliss asks, "You guys seem like you have opinions on video games. What's your favorite non-Sonic Sega game? For me, it's Crazy Taxi. And Joe Shuttle had a rebuttal. He said, I envisioning mentioning the S word around Ryan would involve a similar response as Chris Farley's Colombian decaffeinated coffee crystals.
Joe Shuttle had a rebuttal. Good. I like that.
So
Thanks, Joe.
Neil, should we even ask you this question? Non-Sonic.
Favorite Sega game?
That's not Sonic.
It's
My guess for you, Aladdin. That's my
well,
guess.
no, because I am
shit.
familiar with the Super Nintendo Aladdin.
Which is not as good.
Haha.
It's not as good, but that's the one I know. I'm not a Sega guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other Sega games are there.
But
that
why Ryan and I go? Because
Okay, yeah.
okay. What do you think, Ryan? What, it doesn't have to be Genesis. It could just be any Sega game.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Original Jurassic Park, where the T-Rex's head comes out and is supposed to say Sega,
Yeah.
but that where you can play as Grant, who is a smudgy pair of khaki pants, or the Raptor. The Raptor is more fun. The Raptor is more mobile. Grant is more challenging. This is Dr. Grant, the Sam. I almost said Sam Harris,
Neill.
not the right Sam Neill. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I distinctly remember putting in cheat codes to go above and beyond levels to try and skip through to the end, and kind of ruining my game save. It ruined the game. I got stuck in a point you can't get back, and I remember my brother Sean, and I looked at it and like you broke it. You just
You
had
broke
to
the $50 game.
turn it off and turn it on again, and hope it works.
Hope the
And
hardware
I think
didn't
sometimes it didn't. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it kind of that's it.
I think for me, my favorite non-Sonic Sega franchise, I know it only got one game, and it was also on Sega Genesis. It was Comic Zone. I really like Comic Zone. It's
Help me out. I don't remember
It's
that
a
one.
very difficult game, but basically you were a guy named Sketch Turner, and you got sucked into a comic book of your own creation, and it was like a fighting game hybrid with, I guess, an action art like platformer maybe, and you didn't just go from left to right. You could go down and right. There'd be unique pathways from panel to panel. And every panel, there'd be like either a puzzle or a fight you had to go through. And say you got really good at the combos in the game, because it was like, typical fighting game. You could like drop kick an enemy and they'd go through the barriers between panels and comics and rip the paper. You could hold down a button and make a paper airplane out of the paper the comic was made out of and throw it like a weapon.
Sounds ahead of its time for a Genesis game.
It was really cool. And I just wish they made one for the DS or smartphones or something. It just seemed like it was ripe for a return to a multi-screen device.
Porting it to something.
Just a new
Especially
one. All
right.
I
Cool.
mean, there was other stuff. I loved Vector Man. Daytona was fun at the time. We were talking just about Sega stuff.
My brother Sean and I loved the Primal Rage on 32X in the Sega Genesis.
Sega makes
very specific right
Yeah.
there.
Neil, what do you got? You got anything?
I was trying to look at like their arcade machines, like Afterburner or something.
Afterburner's
maybe.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sure, Afterburner.
Which was in Star of Terminator 2. Bulldozer asks, concerning trilogies, according to lots of people, there seems to be a pseudoscientific rule that states the second part is always considered the best, while the third is considered the worst. Any favorite trilogies that disagree or agree with this notion?
Well, the version I heard was first is the worst, second is the best, third is the one with the hairy chest.
There's probably a rule for that somewhere. It's probably a movie trilogy that abides by that.
Yeah.
So any trilogies that the second one bucks the trend of dark is? Oh, sorry, bucks the trend of the second one being the best. Most people would say Back to the Future 1 is the best.
Yeah.
2 is my favorite. 2 is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, you could make an
I
argument.
get why 2 wouldn't be necessarily a fan favorite, and yet 1 could stand alone, probably on 2 more solid feet than 3. They're all great. I love them.
2 had the least amount of time to cook in editing, and it also had to do the most heavy lifting to set up a third movie. 1 is a little more of just a puerile tale of, hey, what if you hung out with your parents when they were your age? I just think 2 is so creative and funny and cool. The future is cool. The car's cool.
Biff takes over. For Christ's sake.
Imagine if that happened.
The Austin Powers trilogy is kind of a nosedive.
Well put.
Yeah.
People like
Diminishing
2, right?
return on
made 3.
investment.
People like 2 though, right?
I remember people liking 2, but I think it's garbage.
1 is
Yeah.
by far the funniest. 1 is the strongest parody film. For me, going back to my Rage Against the Machine days, The Matrix.
Yeah, Matrix is another nosedive. 2 and 3 have admirable ideas.
Yes, 2 could have been a weird part of a great trilogy, and it's not.
Yeah.
Everything bad about 2 is all that's left by 3, and that sucks.
So there used to be all these trilogies that have been negated by Hollywood
Yeah.
being
I mean-
creatively bankrupt. Like Die Hard used to be a trilogy. Terminator was kind of a trilogy.
It's, when the Pirates film, it's like, it's going to be pretty cool that we're filming 2 and 3 together. It's not.
I think if
Yeah, well,
Same with
hang
the
on.
Matrix.
How many trilogies actually live up to that rule, though? Because I mean, I guess you got
Star
original
Wars.
The Lord of the Rings, Two Towers is the best of the 3, I think. A lot of people were going to crucify me upside down for that one, but fuck them.
I don't even know that many trilogies. Toy Story's not going to be a trilogy much longer.
Like Indiana Jones doesn't follow that rule.
People
No, it
hate
doesn't.
the second one.
Yeah.
I mean, hate's a strong word, but I don't like the second.
I mean,
People-
the Indian people.
that's
hate
another
that
movie that's not a trilogy anymore. Another series that's not. A
Oh,
trilogy.
Well, yeah.
damn, you're right. I didn't think
Yeah.
of that.
I mean, what other stuff is there that's like actually just straight up a trilogy? Like Freddy Krueger, there's like 10 of them.
Not Terminator anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think Zack Snyder envisioned his Superman movies as a trilogy: Man of Steel, Batman, Superman, and Justice League. And it's crazy because you watch Man of Steel, not realizing this is going to be the optimistic entry. And then you go
Yeah.
and Batman versus Superman is supposed to be the dark one.
The second part of your trilogy is opening an expanded universe. That's a weird move, but go on.
Yeah. Well, just like it's weird because I think everyone thought going into Batman versus Superman they were going to lighten it up, and they did the exact opposite.
Oh, Godfather is probably one of the big.
Everyone says the second Godfather.
yeah.
is
Thank
the
you,
best
thank
one.
you.
Third one
That
is
I
the worst.
strongly agree. Strongly agree.
The Blade trilogy.
Blade.
Most people would say that it's Austin Powers-esque, right?
I-
Hey, we're a bunch of dummies. The Dark Knight.
There you go.
Yeah, that's definitely the best one.
Yeah.
I
Would you
like
say Dark Knight Rises is the worst?
I would.
Batman Begins has a lot of momentum because
Yeah.
it was coming out of a bad time for comic book films.
I haven't really rewatched 1 or 3.
One
very
has
much.
one has a lot of good momentum and a good cast.
Mm-hmm.
The third one I think is directed better. I think the third one gets a lot of grief. My only real issue is I think the nuclear bomb's a bit over the top for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, just in and of itself, Bane is fine, but yeah, the pop culture zeitgeist has kind of soured me.
Well put.
Yeah, like you just.
I believe we've been over Bane before on this.
Yeah. Taking our time.
I
with
guess
this.
the original X-Men trilogy follows that rule too.
Oh, yeah.
People like the second one the best, and
For
the
sure.
third one was crappy. I wonder if there's only so many permutations of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like ranked best to worst. I wonder if it's actually just scattered randomly. There's probably not a lot of trilogies where the third is the best, right? Can you think of any?
Sorry, the Man with No Name trilogy, which is a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Most people seem to believe the good, bad, the ugly is the best one, right? I mean, at least critics do. I've watched
I
the good, the bad, and the
guess.
ugly.
It's
to
brought
study
up
the
far
editing.
more often than A Fistful of Dollars.
I haven't
so.
seen them.
The editing's
so,
really
yeah.
good. What about the old Mad Max movies? Everyone seems to think the second Mad Max was really good until they
There
made
you
a new
go.
one and it blew them all out of the water.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's a rare. Fourth one is the best. I've seen 2 and 3 of those, and I actually liked Beyond Thunderdome the best out of the old ones.
Really?
It
Alright,
kind of
cool.
kept my
It's
attention.
just fun.
Yeah.
Tina Turner.
Yeah.
If there were only 3 Tim Burton universe Batman movies, the third one would have been my favorite.
The third one?
Batman Forever
You do
is a
love that
better
movie.
film than Batman
Watch
and
it
Batman.
again, man.
No, I have. Batman
Even-
Returns is a bad script.
I guess.
It is a very bad story that just looks really good.
Yeah.
And has cool characters. It's cool. But Batman Forever is as entertaining as it gets.
All right, what is good about the story of Batman Forever, though?
Well, because they do the whole setup with Bruce questioning like, am I just searching for a family when I'm trying to act like Batman? And then he sees what happens to Dick. Is that his name? Robin.
Yeah.
The villains are funny. And the way they're
Trick can be
developed.
cruel.
I like Edward Nygma's setup. I'm not saying it's like this tale as old as time. It's just it's a story that's well told and it makes sense. The story of Batman Returns borderline is nonsensical. Like it's like there's like elements you vaguely remember. I've watched Batman Returns.
Penguin runs for the mayor so he can get legitimate power.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
It's sitting down and watching it. Like there's this whole idea that they talk about in Batman Returns that, the public has turned on Batman. That's never illustrated. It's just talked about once.
Yeah.
And then there's this image of like Batman falling once that comes out of nowhere. And it's like, Batman's failing for some dumb, like it. I don't hate the movie. I know I come off very critical at these things because I like Batman. The first Batman movie is good, but it's a little all over the place at times. The Prince music is weird. Batman killing a lot of people in the first two movies is weird because it comes out of nowhere.
He kills them.
Yeah, he goes after the
kills
Joker
him.
with the intention just to murder him, which is weird. The Vicky Vale stuff never really landed for me. There's good humor there.
Yeah, I mean, the Schumacher movies are just so much more annoying.
The fourth
They're
one,
Spy
the fourth one, the third one
Kids-esque
get
in a way.
looped. The third and fourth one get looped in tightly together.
Yeah.
But the third one is better. I think at the time as a kid, I loved the third one more, and I've gone back and watched. I'm like, no, this is more entertaining. And I think it's okay to like something because it's entertaining. The jokes land. The lighting is awesome. Val Kilmer's a good Batman.
I hate to. Do we have another question? Yeah.
So with trilogies, I'm just not sure if that rule even. I don't know. I don't think that rule works in a post cinematic universe.
Yeah, I think the list of trilogies is actually getting shorter.
Yeah, which is weird, right?
Yeah.
Actively avoided, Empire Strikes Back because, like we said earlier, because that's really what that question is about.
Or even things like Die Hard used to be a trilogy, and I think the second Die Hard's the most forgotten.
Yeah.
Until 4 and 5. I like Die Hard 3 a lot.
All right, next question.
Mark Paquette says, Ryan has talked about his love of savers on the podcast prior. What is the weirdest, craziest, most amazing thing that he or any of you found there or in any thrift store? Did we already talk about the New Kids in the Rock DVD popping up at
We
Savers?
talked about it at the screening we did. I forget if we've talked about it.
I
on
don't
the
believe
show.
ever discussed it on the podcast.
Neil, you found
I
it?
was looking through the DVDs at Savers, and I found one of our DVDs there. One of the New Kids on the Rock DVDs that we made when we worked at Plymouth Rock Studios, and we shipped probably 100 of them or something out across America. And I don't know, I'm not sure how Savers manages their stock, if it comes from locally or if it everything you donate goes to a warehouse in Georgia and then they distribute it across America. But there was a DVD from Plymouth, returned to Plymouth. And I didn't buy it because I have a bunch at home. But I don't know. That was pretty wild, seeing a cartoon of my own face.
Ryan, anything crazy you've ever found at the thrift store?
Oh, great. Good stuff. Well, I did not buy the little porcelain statue, actually not so little, but 1.5 feet of Buddha with, I actually Instagrammed it because it was a lot cheaper than buying it. Yes, I know. For many hundreds, thousands of years, men and women of the Buddhist faith have acknowledged that what is clearly a swastika to everyone in the Western world,
Sorry, wait, what did you find?
a big swastika Buddha.
Oh, okay.
And I know that symbol means something very different to people of the Buddhist faith, but it's a swastika. Let me try this again. If you love it so much, you can march down to Savers and buy it yourself. But I bet you don't want it in your window, do you? I don't.
I don't. Actually, one of the great things that I always check for at Savers, our Savers is pretty big, and they've always had a pretty big book section. And unlike a lot of other thrift stores, or like Goodwill or whatever, they have antique books there.
They do.
Some of them dating way back from like the 40s and 50s that kind of have their own section. I don't know if they still have this section, but it's pretty easy to find like 30 to 40-year-old books and beyond there. And I've often just bought cool old like instructional books with like cool color illustrations in them because you can't really find that stuff anywhere else.
I got a hardcover of The Prince by Machiavelli published in the 1940s for $1 or $2.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these other questions are amazing, but I don't even know if we could handle them extemporaneously.
Should we save some for next time?
No, we always get
They're
plenty,
great
but like some of them
questions.
are just like, some of them like we've already answered, like, how did the event go in January?
Great.
Juliana asks, favorite pirate and why?
Well, Giuliani.
Juliana.
Oh, sorry.
Paisley.
Favorite pirate?
Yeah.
I'm a Guybrush Threepwood guy from Monkey Island. Neither of you guys have played that, but
Not yet.
What about you?
actually, I'm changing my answer. Barbosa.
Yeah,
Barbosa's pretty consistent.
Every line delivery of him in those movies is
Yeah.
amazing.
You know, changing my answer again. Jeffrey Rush, who's actually a pirate. The actor Jeffrey Rush is my favorite pirate.
Should the actor Jeffrey Rush steal something in international waters, which I wouldn't, I'd let him. I'd let him. I don't. To give you a straight answer to a simple question, I don't know if I have one, but I remain intrigued by Javier Bardem's character. I want to know what the film's like. I know it's got mediocre reviews. I like him as an actor a lot, and this isn't really answering your question.
I'll throw you one. Tim Curry in Muppets Treasure Island.
Oh, there we. All right, that's pretty. I'm gonna stick with that. And if at any point I change, no, I'm sticking with it.
I really like the various pirates Brian Doyle Murray has done.
Oh,
Who is he on Flapjack?
Captain Knuckles.
Captain Knuckles is pretty great.
He's born to play a pirate.
Yeah.
He's in Cabin Boy, which is not good, but I think about it all the time.
This silly movie.
Actually, the pirates are great. It's him and what's the name of the guy from Blade Runner? He's the guy who gets
Ryan Gosling.
Harrison Ford.
He's the very odd looking guy who
he's
gets
like
tripped up by
partner.
the turtle question.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but he's a great character actor who passed away, and he plays a sweaty looking pirate in Cabin Boy, and it's a good time.
There's Treasure Planet has a fellow named Brian Murray who plays Long John Silver. But the thing is, it's not Brian Doyle Murray, and that tripped a lot of people up for a while, including myself. I'm like, oh, Brian Doyle Murray's played like 5 pirates. That's a good one.
golf a lot. Pirates don't golf.
All right, well, hey, we just talked about Monkey Island. Mark Hughes asks, this might only apply to you, Neil. What do you recommend for any good old-fashioned adventure games? I grew up loving Dave the Tentacle, but never really explored the genre too much beyond a few others. Ones I didn't care for include the original Maniac Mansion, Return to Zork, Hugo 3, and Jungle of Doom. He basically goes into how he thought they were a little too convoluted at the time.
Yeah, well, Maniac Mansion is an early example, so like you need context for that one. And the other ones you mentioned are very good games.
He likes
Hi,
Sam
Mark,
Max.
by the way. The whole early LucasArts from I'd say Loom. Loom is a great game that's very easy to play even now because it at the time had a very simplified interface with no verbs. You just it was really point and click.
Yeah.
And you just entered in musical notes on a music staff, and they created magic spells. It's a really cool idea for a game. But yeah, all the LucasArts adventure games from that era are great. The Monkey Island games and the up to Full Throttle and the Dig is really interesting, at least.
I just fired up Dave the Tentacle on my Vita.
Oh yeah, you have it.
Yeah, it was a freebie on PS Plus months ago, and I played through Psychonauts, and I want some more Tim Schafer in my life.
Yeah, give Full Throttle a try. It's a short game. It's got a really cool universe that it's set in.
Yeah.
This is like Tim Schafer to a T. It's got like kind of weird puzzles and like might leave you feeling a little empty, especially because it's short. But just like the world building is so wonderful
Cool.
in that game. Yeah.
Colin Lamprey asks, what if honey and milk came from the opposite source?
I'm thinking about it.
It's still theft, but
That's a good answer.
milk coming out of the cow is just as gross, but we'd still eat it. We'd drink it. We'd make things with it.
I mean, honey coming out of the cow.
Did I say? Oh,
said
jeez,
milk,
how did I mess that up? Honey coming out of the cow. Roll with it. Milk coming out of the bees. I think we'd leave it as a culture.
I agree.
Think
Well, how would you catch it? Like,
dripping. Honestly, the same way we
Same
do,
way.
but much more viscous.
it would just kind of leak out. I don't think the bees would survive.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, last question for this episode. Riley Johnson asks, what are your favorite animals and least favorite animals? Bonus points if they're non-domestic.
Huh.
I'm gonna not get the bonus points because this is a domestic animal that I like. I've never met one, but I really like looking at videos of African giant snails, which are, I believe, illegal in this country, the USA, but people do keep them domestically, and I think that's cool as hell.
Is it a matter of like
They probably just have parasites or something. They
Okay.
might be an invasive species, but they're just like really big snails. You need you can hold them with one hand, but it's pushing it for some of the bigger ones. But they're very cute. They like to stick their heads under the faucet.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
very slow moving, and they just seem nice.
Oh, nice. Do you have a least favorite, or you want to?
My least favorite animal, Sonic the Hedgehog.
I don't know if I have a favorite animal that's super unique. I do like African bullfrogs a lot.
They're cool.
I think there's going to be a theme with we like big animals that aren't normally big in America.
You know, when I was a kid, I loved what are they called?
Dogs.
No, the colorful frogs, rainforest frogs.
Tree frogs.
Tree frogs. Thank you. Just because of the cool colors that are on them.
Mm-hmm.
They're super poisonous. The vast, yeah.
That's also what I liked about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Don't eat me.
There was a tiny display of them. I bet there still is at the Boston Aquarium, the New England Aquarium in Boston. And that, like, yeah, everyone, there's a green one, and it was a green one. As the person, they got a green frog.
Well,
Glad I
that's
paid the ticket to see these
Green
guys.
frogs. No, you
I got all
gotta
kinds
be
of
blue
pink
or red
and
or yellow.
blue and bright neon yellow and and they'll all kill you if they get they will kill you just by looking at them.
Yeah, well, that's why the saying, don't touch that frog.
Touch that
Yeah,
frog.
what's your favorite animal?
I would love to meet a real domesticated fox. I want to meet it. I love domesticated foxes.
Yeah.
My least favorite, and I'm going to lose some people on this, manatees. I'm just done with manatees.
You're over manatees.
I don't wish ill will upon any living thing, but this huge animal that has no defensive mechanism. Like, how did this animal become extinct within my lifetime? Well, it's huge and it's dumb and it can't defend itself and its territory is being destroyed and it's vaguely aware of its surroundings. It moves very slowly. It's fat. It's stupid. It's ugly. It has nothing going for it except that without constant 24-hour-a-day care, it would be like, but you can't say bad things about manatee. Well, what if there were hamsters that cost $4,000 a day to keep on a respirator? I've enjoyed hamsters. I love hamsters. I've had gerbils. You've had hamsters. But if there was an entire species of respirator-dependent hamsters that were enormous and ugly and stupid, again, they're not like the dolphins or like the navigators from, from Dune. They're not like a humpback whale that has a brain bigger than me. These are dumb motherfucking animals, and someday they'll be gone and, all right.
My mother, before I was born, had a pet raccoon that had busted its leg, and they were helping to take care of it while its leg set back. They nicknamed him Bandit, and they built a big cage under the back of the house she was living in at the time. And my mom was probably in her 20s, early 20s. And she has a few pictures of Bandit. Maybe we could find them. That'd be really cute.
I
to
bet
share.
Bandit's smarter than every manatee in the world put together. These dumb, slow-moving, defenseless creatures.
I can't back up the facts on manatees and whether or not.
I have no evidence to sustain my claim, but I'm just sick
I don't
of
know
them.
if I have an animal I don't like. Not that I'm not like some saint, but I'm just trying to think if I've ever had
Mosquito, fuck them.
they're not animals.
I will
They
say,
kill
I think-
people, a lot of them.
I'm gonna say rabbits are overrated. They're very cute. Rabbits are very cute, and
They do
I know,
spread diseases,
I know people who
unfortunately.
have pets who have rabbits for pets, and I've had rabbits for pets, and they are cute. I get why people like them, but I find them impossible to engage with, even on the level that you can with a hamster. I think that they're just really twitchy, and
Yeah, even
they can't really
calm
make
rabbits.
eye contact with you, and they don't really
Reciprocate.
cuddle. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't like rabbits.
I get that. I do. You're right. Even the most chill rabbit I've ever met is much more on edge than even a cat that's been abused for years.
Well said.
Quick fire.
Yeah.
Cat person, dog person.
Cat person.
Cat person, dog person.
Dog.
Oh, really?
I love cats, but I'm allergic.
I'm more of a cat guy, and
I like dogs too, but
I like dogs, but goddamn, do I love cats. I'm a sucker for cats.
Yeah, I really enjoy cats, but it'd be a shame I could never have one.
Yeah.
I mean, unless my allergies just change, and they can change, but no, for now, it would be
you're
a
gonna have
disservice
to
to the
have a
animal.
manatee. I'm sorry.
Just gonna have to have this.
It's the Twilight Zone.
Well, that was episode 6 of Guaranteed Audio. Thought that was a good one. I'm glad we got our pop punk quiz in there.
Me too.
Did a good
Feels
Q-
like a lifetime ago.
yeah. We did a good Q&A segment. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening. And as always, check us out at guaranteedvideo.com and guaranteedaudio.com. We'll be back probably sometime in February with a new movie and a new podcast. I'm looking over some comments right now. We're trying to find a title for our Frosty movie, and someone named Furby said we should call it. And someone named Furby said we should call it Frosty the Costly.
All right.
Or God's Final Judgment.
Pretty good.
I like Frosty the Costly, or the Good Snowman.
If we choose to use if we choose to use your idea, you will get credit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Want to go to the skate park?
Yeah.
Let's go read
Books.